First of all, I'd like to thank especially the people from Alabama and the national media as well for the fantastic job that you've done in terms of covering our team and creating a lot of positive self-gratification for, a lot of our players in terms of your attention, your time, and the exposure that you provided for them. I think they probably don't really know how to say thank you, but I know they appreciate it. I know it's important to them. We're very proud of the fact that, we have guys up for national awards as well as 4 guys that, made All-American yesterday, and I think it's the exposure they gain from your interest and the things that you do that helps those guys be able to receive those kinds of awards and that kind of positive self-gratification. So I'd just like to thank you for all that you do for the University of Alabama as well as college football. We've had a good week this week, and we're certainly excited about having the opportunity to be back in the SEC championship game. This is a little bit like a title fight, and the other team's going to be pretty good. They're going to know how to win, or they wouldn't be here. They're going to be well prepared and probably pretty well coached, and I think that hopefully we learned a few things last year about what it takes to be a champion, what it takes to win a championship, and it's a very good team that we're playing. All the things I said above are true about the team that we have an opportunity to play. It's just going to be a matter of every player being able to focus on what they need to do, each play in the game for every play in the game, because each play or any play can affect the game and the outcome of the game. And regardless of the circumstances in the game, you're going to have to be able to compete through that and play every play in the game that way. So I know you have a lot of questions about the specifics of the game, but I just think that's really important to understand what it takes, to win a championship. The team togetherness that it takes, the discipline to execute in an emotional environment and be responsible for your own self-determination, the positive energy and attitude to affect your teammates, and the kind of resiliency and effort that it's going to take for every play in the game to be able to compete in a championship game.
Okay, we'll take questions. Let's go to the first one in the back. Go ahead.
Coach, I'm sure you're very familiar with the segment of the population in Alabama that thinks football was invented there. And I'm wondering if you guys look at it in any way as tomorrow an opportunity to kind of toss this usurper off the throne and for Alabama to regain its position as the king of football in the South.
I'm all the things that you assume that I would think about, I don't think that. Okay, so it's hard for me to answer a question where, first of all, I think our fans have great passion, but I think the fans in the SEC have great passion for their teams regardless of where you go and play, and I think that's why a lot of people and a lot of players want to be in this league, and I think that's why the league is great as it is. We sort of know that the expectations at the University of Alabama are relatively high relative to the tradition that they have there and the passion that they have there. But and I would probably even go as far to say our fans think that's unique and they're proud of that. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of passion a lot of other places for their football too. And we understand that all the love that we get is conditional on one thing, and that's that we win the game. So that's how I look at it. And we don't really get affected by all the rest of it. And we really want to win the game for the players on the team who have, it's their blood, sweat, and tears that's created this opportunity for themselves. And that's who I want to do the job for, is the players on the team. And I know if the players on the team can do it, that'll make a lot of other people happy as well.
Okay, down front.
Nick, although Florida does so many things offensively, it seems to be really adept at running the option right now. Could you comment just maybe on the difficulty of defending Florida's option?
Right. Well, I think that what you say is very true. I think that to probably summarize their offense, they have a quarterback who can run the ball. They have some very good running backs who have great speed on the perimeter, and they are reading their plays almost each and every play as to whether they hand the ball off or option the ball, or even create a pitch man sometimes to option the ball. Or even when they run a shuffle pass, sometimes they have the option to pitch the ball. So that in itself is an option. And so it is difficult to defend because it's about numbers. So you really have an offense that the point of attack can change from out there to out here to running it in here or throwing it down there. And that's about, and all those things can change in one step, whether it's play action pass or how they create their options. And the fact that they have a quarterback who is unique in terms of his ability to run the ball, execute their offense, and be a very efficient, effective passer makes it very important to play very disciplined team defense in terms of everybody keying being in the right spot and making sure you keep the right sideboards on the defense. And they do it out of a lot of different personnel groups and a lot of different formations, so that makes it even more difficult for the defense to adjust to each one of those things correctly.
Okay, question in the middle here, and then we got a couple on this side together. Okay.
I have two real quick, Claude, if that's okay. First, just a housekeeping, Coach Saban. Could you talk about how Mark Ingram is after yesterday's practice?
Mark is fine and practiced well, and we think he's ready to go. So, you know, you don't know when, you know, guys go into games with injuries, what their situation is going to be right until game time, but we have a good feeling about it right now, and I think Mark has a good feeling about it as well.
And second, for both you and Florida to have to go through this league, play 8 games, go undefeated, and still really neither one until tomorrow have a champion. Is this the toughest league in terms of what you have to do to be a champion in the country, do you think?
Well, I haven't played in all of them, but certainly, well, just think about it. Whether it was last year or this year, you're going to have to beat 2 of the best 3 teams in the country to be able to win a championship, which they were able to do last year. And we would have to do the same, and we would have had to do the same thing last year. So I don't know how it could get any more tougher than that, especially last year and this year. Now, there may be some circumstance and some situation, you know, down the road, or you might talk about Texas and Oklahoma, and, you know, they're 1 and 2, and they play in their league, so I'm sure they would claim the same thing. But in this moment in time, that's the way it is.
All right, go ahead on the right side.
Coach, last year's disappointment of walking off this field with a loss, did that have to be mentioned much this week, or is it just something that's been boiling since last December?
Well, I think our players learned from their experience last year. Florida's a very good team, and we're interested in playing our best football game of the year. And we want each player to play each play in the game like this is my best play that I have to play and be responsible on and give effort to, and knowing that every play can have an effect and impact on the game. And hopefully our players learned last year what it takes to win a championship. But these are 2 good teams playing, and it can be a great football game. And it's probably too bad that somebody has to win and somebody has to lose based on what everybody's accomplished. But that's the way it is. And I want our guys to give a championship effort and be champions in the way they go about their effort as a team in terms of their responsibility to execute their attitude and relentless competitive attitude and how they compete in the game, knowing that, just like I said in my opening statement, the other team's a championship team too, or they wouldn't be here. So it's disappointing always to lose and not be successful, but I think our focus is playing our best game of the year.
Question, go ahead.
Piggyback off his question. There's been a lot of speculation in the media this week about your particular mindset the last 364 days of the year. Possibly have you sat there and brooded over this loss? I'd like to get it straight from the horse's mouth. You have a pretty good record when it comes to rematches, but just kind of get your mindset over the past 364 days.
No, I really, I usually don't respond to media speculation. So maybe I shouldn't respond now. Look, we're competitive. We want to do the best job that we can for our players in every game that we play. And we didn't brood over this game because we had a lot of other challenges between then and now that, our team was able to overcome. And that's what we've been focused on. And we focused on those things with the idea and the goal in mind that we wanted to get back to the championship game and have another opportunity to win an SEC championship. So I'm proud of the players for what they're able to continue to do for that. But my mindset has been to do what we can do to help our team play the best football that they can play and make us the best team that we could be so that we would have the best chance to do this.
Okay, over here, Nick, who you got? Go ahead.
Nick, Florida's given up a whole bunch of sacks this year. You've obviously got some monsters on your defensive line. Just talk about that matchup in the trenches, please.
Well, I think that on both sides of the ball, it's going to be really important to who can control the line of scrimmage is going to have a huge advantage. And I think it's going to be critical for us to be able to do that as well as affect the quarterback to some degree when they do pass the ball. And I think that's important probably in every game. And I think that, some of you say Florida gets sacked a lot. They make a lot of they make a lot of plays in the passing game, and they have very good passing efficiency, as a team. But they're an empty a lot, which means they only have a limited number of guys protecting. So they're more difficult to defend when they're spread out, but it's also more difficult for their offensive line to protect. All right, so I think it's going to be really important that we can pressure the quarterback. And when I say pressure the quarterback, in this game, it means a lot of different things. It means make him throw the ball from the pocket, because there were 2 or 3 occasions last year where he ran for first downs on third down situations because we got out of our pass rush lanes or we got pushed by the quarterback or whatever. So affecting the quarterback doesn't mean just sacking him. It means making it hard for him to throw based on the presence that you have in pushing the pocket and the contain elements of what you're doing. So, and I think that that's going to be a real critical factor in this game, very critical.